Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to church on this beautiful day. How many enjoyed the nice, cool morning and breeze today? Oh, what a beautiful relief. And today is a special day where we're going to be marching in the Pride Parade, which begins at noon. But we have leftovers to deal with before we go to that. So we can hang around here until about 11:45 and get over and park and march in the parade today. So that will be fun to do. I want to thank Ken and Company. We had a lot of people who were working to create food for the United Church of Christ Committee on Ministry throughout this weekend and for the installation service yesterday. And I just want to say thank you. So please stand if you participated. Some of you were barely able to stand after yesterday, but stand if you're able so we can acknowledge your work. Go ahead. Also in the bulletin, choirs begin rehearsing next week, but they'll begin rehearsing at 9 a.m., not 9 p.m. Night owls would love the 9 p.m., but that wouldn't go for most people. In other announcements for the upcoming week, Mission and Outreach will meet Wednesday at 2, right after and through the Bible study. Also, if you had a very difficult weekend and need some fun, Make Mondays Fun happens tomorrow at 5. Let us join together as a family as we offer our welcome to all people. Join with me in the invitation to worship. Whoever you are, and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. The rainbow in the Hebrew tribal story in Genesis is a symbol of the love and grace of God after a God-awful flood. Every ancient civilization, every ancient tribe has a flood story. Have you ever thought about why? Think about it. Ancient civilizations were built upon what? Water, rivers, Tigris and Euphrates, the Nile, the Ganges. So every ancient tribe, of course, had stories of devastating, seemingly world-ending floods. The ancient Hebrew tribe tell their story after a great flood. The rainbow appeared as a sign of God's covenant promise never to destroy the world by water. But more importantly, talked about a God who loved not just life as human life, but animal life, plant life. So to be a rainbow person is not merely to commit yourself to support love for all human beings. It's to commit ourselves to loving the animals that share in this planet. And yes, the trees that I spoke about last week. And the things that sustain life. So I love the colors we have today. But let us remember that rainbow people have an ethic that is wide and broad and compassionate. Amen.
Good morning. Please join me in the call to worship. Some of us were raised to believe the point of religion is to feel absolutely miserable. You do not feel like a guilty worm. How do you get right with God? Did not God create life, all life, and declare it was good? Yes, even your life.
Help us to accept our goodness and godness as children of God.
This is just going halfway. The goodness of our rainbow God celebrates the diversity of life in every aspect of creation.
Inspire us to be joyful people, to celebrate the beauty of God in every color, shape, size, and life.
That goes for all ages. You can feel joy singing, or listening to a great band on the radio, or how do you listen to them? You can feel joy just being together with friends. You can feel joy playing video games, or watching football this afternoon. Show me something that gives you joy. What is it that gives you joy? I know for you it's Godzilla movies. You love those guys. You know all the plots and all the actors and everything. Yeah? What gives you joy? Play Survivor. Okay. Okay, so what do you do for fun? Swim a lot in the pool? Okay. What else? Ride a bike or something? What do you like? Monster guns in the movies, yes. Minecraft. Any books?
Yes, actually. I've actually just gotten into this recently because I just found out it's a series of books.
What is it?
Night School.
Night School.
Yeah.
That's something you never want to go to. But yeah, that's something. Good books, okay. All right.
And then there's a game I'm really addicted to now.
What is that?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelings and Geometry Dash.
What's it called?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelings and Geometry Dash. Those are two games I am very addicted to.
Okay. Well, there's lots of joys in life. And we're going to walk this way. And as we walk this way, I want some adults to mention what things give them joy. So we have a wider list. So as we walk this way, what are some things that give you joy? Music. Reading a good book. Hanging with the horses.
Puppies.
Puppy. Oh. Yeah. What else? What gives you joy? Family time. Did you say art? Art. What else? Grandkids. What else gives you joy?
Legos.
Nature, and you said Legos?
Legos.
Legos. Wow. Cookies. All right.
Beautiful flowers.
What's that?
Beautiful flowers.
Beautiful flowers.
Smiling at somebody, they smile back.
Oh, that's always nice. That's always nice. Anything else that gives you joy? Oh, you're living in the right place. What gives you joy?
Art.
Art. What gives you joy?
My dog.
Your dog. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Including that game I don't even know anything about. So, you can go to Sunday school now, if you wish. If you have a joy or concern to share, please come forward. I was going to say, in terms of joys, now Omicron variant boosters are available. So check it out. I got mine on Friday at Walgreens, about a mile from here. So we in this church believe in science and support every effort to keep people healthy. We're not going to be denying science. Thank God for Dr. Fauci. I'm sorry he's going to retire. I wish he'd work till, what is he, like 81? Work till 90. In terms of concerns, we pray for Ukrainians as 2 nuclear power plants are under military threat. And I ask, have Russian authorities ever heard of Chernobyl or Fukushima? What are they doing? So we just pray for sanity involving those 2 facilities. Peace. Shalom. Shalom. Bruce? Anyone else?
let's pray for the completion of the war crimes investigation. They've been working on that a long time, and I would like to see them completed and proceed with getting results. Okay, I was going to tell you about a listening post. The school is going to have a listening post. What that means is you can check on their schedule and see which place is closest to you. The superintendent will be there, and a grouping from the schools will be there, and you can express any opinion you wish to the superintendent of schools about what is going on with our schools.
I'm Elizabeth. First, I again want to thank everyone who has been driving me around the last couple of weeks, especially Brad, who is like Grand Belly Uber now because he's been going to Florida a few times a day.
You don't get any tips?
He's not getting tips enough. And this one is just kind of an announcement. I am still really excited for the OWL class, but we only had one kid sign up, and I'm scared. So we're moving our dates.
What is OWL?
Oh, it's the Our Whole Lives Sexuality class. Thank you, Brad. That we offer in conjunction with the Unitarian Universalist Church. The one we're offering this time is grades 7 to 9, and we need a critical mass of students to offer the class. So if you know Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, if you have friends at other congregations, we have spoken with the Episcopalians. I just spoke with United Methodist Secretary yesterday. We need a critical mass of kids to have conversations. So if you need more information, or if you have a student in mind who would like me to contact, I am happy to. 7th to 9th grade. We need some people. And third thing, the beginning of the school year this year has been really rough. We have a lot of students in this town who are really struggling. Their families are in a really rough spot. And I have been just kind of a mess about some of my students this year and what they're dealing with. And it's been really hard. But sometimes you have to listen to sunbeams. And Brad and I and Simon, one of his friends, went to the Weird Al concert on Wednesday. I can't believe we didn't see everybody there. Very disappointing.
Pam was right behind
You know, Brad said, I think I saw Pam, and it was like, no. It was fantastic. Except for the poor guy in the balcony who kept filming the whole time. I talked to him out there. Not cool. Anyway, a lady came up to me in the bathroom who was wearing a tinfoil hat, which is something you do at a Weird Al concert. And I said, your hat is amazing. And she said, I made you one. And she gave me one out of her purse. With walking things. And it was great. I didn't keep that in forever.
Good. It's a special person who's a Weird Al fan. Yes. All right, all three of you come on up here. Don't be shy.
Scarlett. I am Carol Oglesby. I'm Kathy Williamson. And Scarlett's joining us. We wanted to share a joy, the possibilities of the Monday Night Art. This is the project we just finished, along with Dana and Zoe, Vicki, Ricky. Who else joined us? Linda. Dina. Yeah. Anyway, so think about coming to the Monday Night Art group. Oh, this is in honor of the Ukrainians, and it's going to hang in the hallway with the other sunflowers.
Good morning, I'm Ken. I just wanted to share the joy that we had the past few days. Creating happy memories with lots of new friends from 3 different states, I think they were, Wyoming, Utah, and Colorado. It was wonderful to get to meet folks that I'd only met through Zoom stuff on my computer screen. Some folks from the last meeting came down for that. So it's always lots of fun to create happy memories, and I think the folks that visited our church the past few days, it was a memorable experience for all of them, and it was real gratifying for all of us to be able to participate in that. And I wanted to share a quick update with Bob. Thanks to the generosity of folks at this church, plus the bosses where he worked were having him come in to help out and do some odds and ends things at time and a half pay. So he's about fully recouped everything that he was built out of with the scam with us. So thank you all very much.
A memory for you. 20 years ago, Linda and I stood at the Twin Towers pole. We had been there 2 years before, and 2 weeks before the bomb went off and the planes crashed. I wondered to myself if anybody named Mahoney had died. We were standing in front of the reflecting pool, and I looked down, and the name Philip Mahoney was staring me in the face on a plaque at the reflecting pool. To all the people who died in the bombing of Twin Towers, 9/11, 21 years ago. We'll miss them all.
Yes, people from 40 different countries perished that day. And we remember that with a very heavy heart. Let us open our heart to the compassion of God as we enter into prayer together. God of peace, help us to value peace in a world where there are acts of terrorism and hate that leave lasting scars. God of peace, show us the way to live together in peace among our neighbors and neighborhoods. God of peace, let your peace sing within our hearts. Let your peace quiet our busy minds. Let your peace connect us to the depth of love. Let your peace flow into this world. We ask for peace for those who are struggling with health issues. We ask for peace for those who are dealing with students who face crisis day after day. We pray for peace for those facing mountains of stress in their life. We pray for peace amid the conflicts in our world. As we gather, let us experience an awareness of your presence within our heart and consciousness. We're grateful for the health to be present. We're grateful for those who walk with us on this journey called life. We're grateful for those who stand against hate and walk in the Pride Parade. We're grateful for all people of courage who refuse to follow hate-based laws or hate-filled politicians. You're a God of creativity and diversity. Let us not only see diversity, let us celebrate it. We pray this as we follow in the steps of Jesus, who taught us to pray by saying, Our God, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead
As children of the Rainbow God, it is our duty to celebrate this earth, protect it. We use the gifts that you give generously at this church over the last few years to make some energy-saving changes. And Martha shared with me that those changes saved us $800 in July alone. Being good stewards and taking care of the earth by being responsible consumers of resources is part of our goal at this church. Please give generously so we can continue making these changes. Our scriptures today come from Genesis 9, 8 through 13, and Luke 11, 33 through 36. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, "As for me, I am establishing my covenant with you and your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the domestic animals, and every animal of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of a flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth." God said, "This is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all generations. I have set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth." Second reading. "No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it in the cellar, but on a lampstand, so that those who enter may see the light. Your eye is the lamp of your body. Your eye is healthy, your whole body is full of light. But if it is not healthy, your body is full of darkness. Therefore, consider whether the light in you is not darkness. If then your whole body is the light, is full of light, with no part of it in darkness, it will be as full of light as when the lamp gives you the light with its rays."
Pride Sunday is always a call to greater enlightenment. What people often miss is the obvious. God delights in diversity. You can see it in all of creation. It's too obvious to debate. My wife has put out all these bird feeders, and it's shocking the number of different types of birds that just show up to eat. Of course, you throw out food and things will come. But I'm looking at them like, okay, there's a dove, and you got some hummingbirds, and then we got a bunch of birds that I don't know, but they're different colors. The variety, the diversity, the spice of life is all around us. Even if we don't know the names of the 50 different types of birds. There are 5 ways where people respond to diversity. And there are 5 ways that many of us have experienced all 5 of these. But there are 5 main ways. The first response that people can have to diversity is to reject diversity, and for our version, deny diversity exists. When you say that it's not really there, or pretend that people are not gay, Florida law talks about don't say gay. Don't let people know. Don't even use the word. And I'm thinking, are we trying to go back to the 19th century? There are t-shirts that are available now that politicians locally have worn that say, "Make America Florida." Frankly, we moved here because we don't want that much humidity. You know, we want to live in Florida. And people say, okay, that's great. I don't know. Florida's great for about 3 months. But when we look at this, there are people who have disagreements with reality, disagreements with diversity. And my question is, how do you plan to debate reality? Second response to diversity is accept diversity grudgingly with a libertarian spirit. And I've seen that in Mesa County. Accept diversity grudgingly with a libertarian spirit. That is, I don't like it, but if they want to do it, that's their business. I don't like it, but if they want to do it, that's who they are, that's their business. Have you experienced that in Mesa County? You've experienced that kind of approach to diversity. Then there's tolerance of diversity. And the more you hear about tolerance of diversity, the less you like the word tolerance. You know what I'm saying there? That is, don't ask, don't tell. They may be that way. It's also something you hear among the more educated in Mesa County is that people will say, our church welcomes everyone, but we do not say that what you're doing is okay. We do not say that who you are is okay, but we welcome everybody. That's the tolerance of diversity model that many churches have adopted, but the truth is, do you welcome everybody if you don't love everyone equally? That's the question. The response that UCC churches make and other progressive churches make is to affirm diversity. In the United Church of Christ, it's called Open and Affirming. And I tell you, where I see that outside of our church, most present, is on the CMU campus. I see affirmations of diversity of student body, the diversity of opinion, and so I'm very proud that we have that institution in our city because they're living out affirming diversity in beautiful ways. Now that's not to say they can't go a lot further, but they're doing a good job. But there's a fifth response, and it's the response that I believe in the heart of God, and that is not simply affirm diversity, but delight in diversity. And by delight, I'm talking about taking joy in the gift of life, the beauty that you can find in all nations and people, the beauty you can find in every human culture and experience, the beauty you find rooted in creation itself. Delight in diversity. That is a challenge. That is a gift. We often overlook that Jesus was often quite joyful in his words and his approach to life. He was a smiling storyteller who would often have very cunning stories with interesting punchlines. A smiling story who speaks about pushing camels through the eye of a needle, or even selling everything you have right down to your underwear to buy that one precious pearl that will give life meaning, purpose, and design. We skip over the happy-hearted Jesus who preached sermons with gratitude for the lilies of the field, for the birds of the air. Would a stern, harsh, somber person say wild, extravagant stuff that Jesus said about, don't worry, saying what shall we eat? Don't worry, saying what shall we drink? Do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will worry about itself. Wherever Jesus went, he shared that sense of joyful delight in the gifts of all humanity. Other than when dealing with political corruption at the temple in Jerusalem, Jesus was a fairly laid-back, upbeat rabbi. He was a person of joy. And if you look at his life and how he accepted others, including the most rejected in his society, how he welcomed them, embraced them, loved them as children of God, you realize Jesus was a rainbow person. He had the joy that could inspire us to seek that same delight in diversity. It generates compassion where compassion is absent. Thank God for the people of joy in your life. Because if they're having joy, they're more open to life. People who manifest joy are a special gift to us. People who share joy life and radiate that joy like a light or beacons and blessings. A person with joy inspires us to act in beautiful ways, including in ways of social justice and mercy. It is a joy to stand in solidarity with others with a pride parade. It is a joy to show our love with a rainbow of delight. Joy plants those seeds of faith where too often we're shaped by fear, worry, or anxiety. I had a wonderful Sunday school teacher that I've mentioned before named Mrs. Steve. And she taught us each Sunday about a Jesus who constantly acted to love and to help others. Jesus was focused on being there for the sick and the injured. And Mrs. Steve explained to us that Jesus had brown skin. And it would never be right to dislike a person who had brown skin. And she also invited us, she said, as you grow up, I want you to make friends with people of every skin color. And she went on a list of them: beige, tan, yellow, brown, black, and then she added, and green. That's why I remember the story. Because I'm thinking, what is she talking about? Green. Of course, all of us stood up and asked questions about these green-colored people. And Mrs. Steve said, well, there could be green-colored people who visit us from another planet. She also said, remember those sci-fi movies you watch on television? Did things go well when humans shot at the green-skinned people? She wanted us to realize that God and God in diversity may have created life forms in other planets that come to this planet, and our first response should be something other than we see in all the movies, right? What happens in the movies? Alien shows up, and immediately they ready the news. So we see this sort of love of diversity and variety being taught in the best of Sunday schools and in our Sunday school. Let us consider that this church is in the joy business. Every church has people who struggle with problems, conflicts, roof and plumbing issues. And when we look at the power of joy, it is the power to bring people together in a way that fear never brings people together. Joy is seeing delight in others. So we join the Rainbow Parade not simply because it's a sense of moral duty, or standing with neighbors, or standing even with those we love. We do it out of a sense of joy and delight in life. Joy and delight in democracy. Joy and delight in liberty. We follow a way of healing that calls us to look past fear, prejudice, hate, and discrimination. One of the hardest things I had to do as a minister was to talk with a transgendered person who joined our UCC church in Tulsa. Well, they didn't have any options other than our church in Tulsa. They grew up in one of the largest Methodist churches in this nation. 8,000 member Boston Avenue Methodist Church, which is one of the most beautiful churches architecturally you'll ever see. But after growing up in that church and being baptized, confirmed, and active in their church, they started the process of gender transition and were told, what?
Get out.
You cannot be here. You cannot stay here. You cannot be a part of this church anymore. So they looked for a place where they would be welcome, appreciated, and yes, welcome with joy, and found that place in our church in Tulsa. However, what they did not experience was that joy and delight in the general culture. need to move. You need to go to a big city. You need to go to Chicago, LA, New York, East Coast, West Coast, someplace where you can live with a sense of joy in your life and not this constant bombardment of judgment and hate. So they moved to Chicago and found friends and family and structure and support and beauty. Some of the hard things we have to do in life is because we want others to experience joy. We want our friends, our family, our connections to experience joy in life. I was very pleased they found a community after moving to Chicago. As a pastor, sometimes you have to help people realize they need to move themselves out of places where they don't have joy. And that could be moving out of a relationship. It could be moving out of a place where they are abused at work. It could be moving out of a place of addiction, or moving out of a place where you just feel like you have been oppressed and enslaved. Why do we push people in this direction? So that they can experience the gifts of joy. I want you to think about a joyful person who blessed you. Put your hand over your heart and think about a joyful person in your life. It could be a relative, a friend, associate from school. And think about a person who was a joy person in your life. And hold them in your heart. And remember the gifts they share with you and the beauty of their life, their words. Remember their face. Hold in your heart the smile that they would often give to you. And realize that is a part of who you are. That is a gift that has been shared with you. That is something in your life you can touch and hold and appreciate and experience. So as we go into the world, let us not go without joy, because that is something we all need for each and every day. And now the final ending to the story that began with our friend being pushed out of Boston Avenue Methodist Church. It has been 10 years since I visited the church in Tulsa again to see some of their major improvements in terms of making the sanctuary much lighter, tearing out a wall, putting in new lights, painting things light. But one of the great lights that I saw there was the person who had gone to Chicago and now has come back to Tulsa. Because in those years, Tulsa changed. Has employment discrimination protections on the books, has a Republican mayor who is working to find the bodies that were buried after the Greenwood race massacre. So things are happening in our society that can be praised, that are bringing joy to people. And yes, the person who had to move to Chicago to find joy, after a decade found they could move back and find new joy. That is a gift.